back like we never left. It is the Weird Times podcast. I am your host, 817 Rod 682, reporting to you live from the studio inside of Dallas, Texas. On the other side of the line is my cohort, my esteemed colleague, my cousin, someone I go to for dumb shit. Introduce yourself, sir.
You know what it is. It's your boy, Thrice Dust, a.k.a. Mr. Thanos with the glove, because I'm about to get these boys the fuck up out of here, if you know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to have to change that soon, because Ant-Man about to run up at Thanos' ass, you dig? But anyway, I mean, terrible intro, but we're going to get it popping. You know, it's probably going to be one of our best episodes. Hopefully this is our official pilot episode. We can get on iTunes and some shit. Yeah, I mean, but what's happening? What's going down?
First off, all of these are going on iTunes. Fuck you, me. Nobody gets to tell me what I can and can't post. So, fuck you guys. Yeah. So to start off this podcast, something we want to talk about that just happened recently. Billboards took my man Lil Nas X's song from the country.
Shout out to Lil Nas X, man. Young dude. I ain't ever heard of him until like recently, like today actually. Yeah, I mean, but hey, man, hey, you making waves out here already, dog. You making moves, power moves, man. All right, Lil Nas X, man. Hey, I'm copping a single, dog. Just to show support, dog. Anyway, my bad.
My man's was on damn near every hip hop R&B station today. So what happened is he dropped a track that had a country and western feel, lyrics, with a bit of trap beat. So to me, it sounded a little like Kane Brown or, you know, some of the other trap country stars. I don't even know if that's a genre, but some of those guys that sound a little bit like that with a little bit more hip hop influence. They said this one was too hip hop. I don't agree with it. And there have been country stars that came to his defense today, so I was glad to see that. But like Hope said, you know, they used to look at billboards when they were young. Now they look at billboard like it's you dumb. Like, we need to start controlling the culture. We need to start pushing it. We need to be the leaders of our own successes. And how you feel about it, Dust?
First off, thank you for that strong introduction, Dr. Martin Malcolm X Ben. I don't know how to end that, but disclaimer before I get into it, we recording on an off day, so we kind of like doubling up on recording because we got plans to do things on our usual recording day. So I mean, we're 3 days early than when we usually record. Anyway, so we're getting it in early, so just, you know, when it drops, if shit sounds off time-wise, then that's just what it is. But anyway, yeah, man, I think it's setting a bad precedent, man. You know what I mean? Because really you're stifling creativity and the growth of music. You dig what I'm saying? Like, art is art, however you look at it. You know what I'm saying? And entertainment culture, you know, although as a person of color, I will say that we highly influence it, but I think the lines have become so blurred when it comes to entertainment. I think that everything is acceptable by everybody. You know what I mean? Like, the young kids, they don't care if it's, you know, I listen to like Triple X, Lil West. You know, I keep my ears to the street when it comes to music. And these guys, they remind me of like, you know, Fall Out Boy, you know, these early 2000 bands that were like
Linkin Park.
Yeah, what was like Chevelle? What would you genre that it was like his whole little genre. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know
my
what you're
friend
talking
used
about.
to listen to it. It was like emo pop, I guess. I mean, like emo rock or some shit. But you know, I think that if my man is influenced by country, man, I think country should accept that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I think people need to, when it comes to art, I think people need to look past simple rules. You know what I mean? Oh, his drum line's too hard. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just a stupid way of looking at art. You don't go up to a Salvador Dali and say, oh, it's not a classic because it doesn't look like a Rembrandt. You feel me?
Yeah.
Two totally different things, but the same thing at the same time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. But what you're also leading into a good point is like, you don't want to stifle creativity and you don't want to limit anybody's where they can take the genre, but we got to think about what genre we're talking about. We're talking about country and Western music. We're talking about the most conservative music there is on any platform. And conservatives are all about what? Conserving what it is. So unless you're like what's Hootie's name?
What's Hootie and the Blowfish?
Yeah. What's the dude? Darius Rucker. If you're not coming in like a Darius Rucker and doing like classic country, I'm not sure that they're wanting to let a dude with the name like Lil Nas X come in and sit in their good old boy club.
So if it was the same song, but it was made by Jerry Winkler, it'd be okay?
No. I'm saying they want their music to remain traditional country.
Well, I don't. But I think it's inevitable for their music to change because the youth of country and Western music, country boys are influenced by apple bottom jeans. Well, you see the it was like a viral video with the cats that was like doing they was blowing in jugs and shit. I don't know. Not bluegrass. What is that?
Yeah, that's bluegrass.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that type of music, man. And they was doing T-Pain. I mean, since 2000, bro, like everything's crossed over. You know what I'm saying? Everything's crossed over. Like there's nothing that you can just limit to one specific area. Absolutely. You know what I mean? When Nelly was doing songs with country Western people, they accepted that. It's inevitable, bro. Like you can't stop the art form, bro. Like,
but a Nelly song with Tim McGraw.
You know what? Honestly, I don't want to interrupt you, but right now, hold your thought. Right now, this is the best thing that's going to happen for country music.
How you figure when they're the biggest genre of music?
They're not. Hip hop definitely is.
Look at the worldwide genre of music.
It's hip hop, then rock, then I think probably something else before.
Don't say probably. Give me facts.
Okay, so I would say that. I mean, I'm not Googling this right now, but if I'm going off the top of my head, I'm gonna go hip hop, I'm gonna go rock, I'm gonna go pop, and then I'm gonna go country.
Okay, so
off the top of my head,
I'm just looking at Ranker.
Within the last 10 years. Let me add that caveat.
Okay, so outside of like a BET Awards or Source Awards, who has the biggest platform for their own genre of music?
Oh my God, we're talking about award shows?
No, well, I'm just saying platforms. Like when you think about like the AMA, like CMAs. You think about like the CMAs. The CMAs is an event that's put on like it's a Grammys or a Oscars. We don't have that on.
No one gives a fuck about the CMAs,
bruh. It comes on network television though. That's what I'm saying.
The fuck gives a fuck about the CMAs?
The country music. I mean,
three people.
Okay. I want you to look up facts. I want you to stop coming at me with bullshit from now on.
I'm not coming at you with bullshit. Like I literally cold-hearted. So. Excuse me. I literally don't have to look up anything, and I can tell you right now, no one gives a fuck about the CMAs. If there's anybody out there that gives a fuck about the CMAs, call me personally. You know where I'm at. You know where I'm be. You know,
please do, because it's obviously a big enough event to be held in Jerry's world. So, I mean, they do one of the biggest.
When was the last time a country person's done the fucking Super Bowl? I'm talking about real shit here. I'm talking about with real eyes, my G. I'm talking about real shit.
You're right. You're correct. But
no one gives a fuck about the CMAs, bro.
But when you think about the Super Bowl,
we talking about All-Star games. We talking about
who controls those? Who controls the Super Bowl?
We talking about Grammys. We talking about
Who controls that? Who controls that? Who's the? I mean, obviously, white America is still like the largest watcher of football in U.S. But I'm saying like. Our culture is in football. Our culture is in basketball. I can't tell you who does the baseball All-Star game. I don't know. I don't watch that.
Do they have a halftime show at fucking baseball All-Star game?
I don't know. I guess they don't, huh?
I mean,
somebody has to perform though, right?
Maybe they'll have an opening.
7th inning stretch.
Maybe they'll have an opening, but I don't think they really have a baseball All-Star halftime.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Or hockey. I don't know. I don't.
It's still, I still think they're gonna go with what's hot, and what's hot is not country music.
You're right. I agree. Except for like Kane Brown and a country music winner.
I'm not saying that country music isn't good. I would never disrespect country music like that. You know what I mean? I thoroughly, over my lifetime, have enjoyed quite a few country songs. And
this is not a debate on whether country is good or not. It's just on who controls their movement.
I'm just saying country doesn't sway the public in any shape or form. You know what I mean? Like, country's not dictating what the culture, and not just our culture, the American culture does next. It's not happening.
What's the dude that used to do, Hank Williams Jr., that used to do Are You Ready for Some Football? And then he made some very racial and far right comments. They took him off, and guess what happened? They brought him right back because they knew that like football.
Well, I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying that the undertones don't exist and they will always exist. I'm not cutting that out. Carrie Underwood does. Are You Ready for Some Football too? Now.
Oh yeah, they're right. Yeah.
I'm not knocking. I'm not saying that country isn't something that is the forefront of American culture. What I'm saying is country music doesn't dictate.
Right.
If they replaced Hank Williams Jr. with anybody, no one would have gave two shits.
They did, and they said bring that shit back. I was just listening to a podcast talking about that, how it was talking about the legacy of sports and racism and politics and all that stuff.
Well, but back to the original point. My only point is that I think it just sets a bad precedent.
I'd agree.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't consider hip-hop that just evolved into hip-hop.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, Lil Xambar or whoever the hell comes out next that comes out with sleepy-ass flows and not talking about shit, I wouldn't really consider that hip-hop. That's like its own genre.
But that's what they're going to put it in, yeah.
They're going to put it in hip-hop, though. So if country music...
Or rap.
If somebody... Is it from Alabama, a young black man from Alabama or Mississippi,
mm-hmm.
Florida,
mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? That listen to, which there's a lot of country songs that have hip hop undertones. They just save a horse, ride a cowboy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Makes my tractor sexy. I mean, these are all pop. These are all, they went somewhere else for these influences, you know what I'm saying?
Honky tonk, badonkadonk.
Yeah, like, I mean, so... If I mean, these are all good songs too. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So if a young black man or whoever it is listening to this shit and they're like, oh shit, like and they get influenced by that and they want to drop that, they should acknowledge that.
Yeah.
It got some banjos in it.
Yeah.
He's singing in a country accent. He's not even rapping. He doesn't flow anything. He's just singing in a I think it's uncalled for just because the bass is heavy.
Yeah. I don't know. I like a lot of country music. I love Chris Stapleton.
We're Texas boys. I grew up on country music.
So, it is what it is. But keeping it in the music. So all this stuff about Cardi B here in the news lately. Video surfaced from, 10, 12 years ago where she talked about, basically black widowing people. Okay.
Yeah, squirrel ass.
Hey, when the baby hit that on that baby on baby, that shit was hard though. Anyway, but yeah, so I don't like cancel culture, even though we kind of did that on the first episode. We talked about who's going to get canceled next. I really can't stand everybody jumping on a bandwagon, cancel people. And this is one of them. Like, yeah, I do understand the implications behind this. I know you feel passionate about it, Drew, so I'm going to let you speak your piece on this.
I really don't feel passionate about it, okay?
You seem like you do.
No. I just want to call a spade a spade. All right. First off, when I talk about cancel culture, I give two shits. You know what I mean? If now I may feel that that person's a dirtbag or that person's a, you know, I mean, he's, you know, a piece of shit or whatever. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it didn't personally affect me, then I really don't give a shit. And that might be a bad way of looking at things. You know what I mean? But I do care about big picture. You know, I do care about big picture things. I do care about, you know, women's health and women's safety. You know what I mean? I care about the kids. I care about racism, you know, and those type of topics, you know. But but all that personally affects me. I got a wife. I got kids. You know what I mean? Like, all that personally affects me. But when it comes to individuals' behavior, I personally don't care. You know what I'm saying? But I will say, so I don't care if people get canceled or not. And when we were talking about that first episode, I was talking about from creepy and weird behavior. You know what I mean?
Which this would be.
Yeah. This is. I don't want Cardi B to lose any money. You know what I'm saying? I know Cardi B has worked her ass off to get where she is. You know what I mean? And I think that, you know, by any means necessary is sometimes a reality for some people. You know what I mean? I think some people don't really get a chance to look at it any other way. But I do think we need to address that topic, because I think that I think it's unfair for men to just take the brunt of everything. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I think it's unfair that, you know, when Donald Trump says, you know, grab him by the pussy, oh, that's just how boys talk in the locker room. Now it may be true, but the thing is that now all men is trash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, when you know, football players get locked up for rape that they may have or may not have done, they're always going to be looked at as a rapist regardless. Right. Even if they're exonerated, they're always going to be looked at as a rapist. You know what I'm saying? And it you know, and it's unfair because, you know, especially in this day and age, with the Me Too movement, which is strong as hell, which, you know, I support women defending themselves and defending their rights, and, you know, I totally support that. But at the same time, it's like, do we give women a pass just because they women, and just because that's the order of things? Like, I think that's unfair to men. I think it's unfair to men because I don't think anyone else wants to acknowledge the order of things until when it comes to men. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Oh, men have always ran the show, so, you know, that has to change. But all of a sudden, when, you know, men are getting baited in by strippers, look at it like this. I look at it like this. Robert Kraft gets a handy, right? Mm-hmm. From and I don't want to be crass here, but let's say they're not if they're forced into sex, you know what I mean? If this is like a sex ring, you know what I mean? I'm totally against that. You know what I mean? But let's say she's a working girl by choice. You know what I mean? And he goes in there and gets a handy. That's a business transaction. He deserves respect. You feel me? He deserves to be treated as a business transaction. You know what I mean? You know, like when if a man went to a strip club and he was just not tipping nobody and smacking women on the ass and calling them all kinds of names, they would get him the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? Because it's a business transaction. He's not being respectful. He got to go. So if Cardi is baiting dudes to the house with plans of taking a shit without them knowing, you know what I mean? Now let's rewind this 10 years before. Let's rewind this 10 years before Cardi's on. Now let's say she tried that shit, got caught up, didn't get my man's, and then my man put his hands on her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's out of here.
Right.
Locked up for years. You know what I mean?
She's gonna go down too.
I don't think she's gonna go down. I think she'll be absolutely fine. And I don't want her. I don't want her to lose any money. I don't want her to be knocked off whatever pedestal she's on. But we need to address this shit. She needs to address it. She needs to talk about it. It needs to be discussed. You know what I mean? She needs to apologize for it. And I mean, not have nobody write her shit. She needs to come out and be like, listen, I was wrong. She needs to come out and say, I was wrong on one of her overt videos. When she's talking shit, she needs to come out and say, I was wrong. You know what I mean? I was living a wild lifestyle back then. It wasn't right. You know, I regret doing that. You know, and I live with this, I don't know a good word. The regret of treating victims like that. Because the dudes are being victimized. But no one gives a fuck about dudes getting victimized. And I think that's unfair.
No. So, first off, I feel the same way you do. I don't want Cardi to lose any money. I think it's unfortunate that she felt like she had to be in that position to do that. But at the same time, absolutely, those men deserve the same justice that anybody else did. Like, Just Hilarious just got into something because she had a flight stall because she was, being Islamophobic, thinking that some sheiks were Muslims. Not that it matters either or, but the fact that she was scared to be on a plane because of racial prejudice, she came out and she acknowledged she was wrong. That did not hurt anybody. It may have hurt feelings, but it didn't hurt anybody. This actually hurt people.
And the fact, and see, what's crazy to me is that we know this is happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're involved in the culture. We probably got friends this has happened to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a friend that was drugged in a strip club. I mean, he wasn't my best friend or nothing, but he was drugged in a strip club. You know what I mean? Ended up in a mental institution on that night. You know what I'm saying? I mean, did he deserve it? No, he was a military dude. You know what I mean? My man just went to go to an establishment that he paid to get in. The establishment knew what the establishment was. There wasn't no secrets. He wasn't doing anything illegal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He got off work. He wanted to go hang out.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's victimized. Now he's spending the night in a mental institution looking like he crazy because he got drugged by some girl and stripper so he could give up more money.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
This is going on right now in the city of Fort Worth. I ain't finna call out the club's name, but they've been in the news for drugging people and charging up to $2,000 on people's credit cards on a regular basis. Like drugging drinks and snatching dudes' money up. Nobody has been reported of any physical harm, but even still, like,
that's uncalled for, bro. Because it is harm, dog. It is harm because
I just said physical harm.
Yeah, I know, but you know, if I'm waiting outside of a woman's job after she just got paid, right, and I hit her upside her head and take her fucking paycheck, you know what I mean? Take all her money and rob her, I'm going to fucking jail. You know what I mean? And people are gonna care. People gonna be on my ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I go to an establishment after working hard, pull out my hard-earned money. I get hit over the head with some Molly or some goddamn shit, possibility of losing my job because I've been drugged in an establishment that's supposed to be, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then, he brought it on himself. He shouldn't have been there. He should have been at home with his family. Like, come on, dog, that's bullshit. Dog, that's fucking bullshit.
That is bullshit. And I tell you what, man, like, if you enjoy partaking in the strip club life, you gotta know that those things exist. I mean, yeah, you gotta be fully aware, but just like any woman going into a club, they're aware that, yeah, you could get raped, but that's the last thing you're thinking about.
Man, men are always, it's fucked up because men are always victims and nobody gives a shit about the man being the victim. You know what I mean? But when the man's the predator, we all care, which rightfully so. But when the man's the victim, no one gives a shit. You know what I mean? Jerry Sandusky was running through all them niggas over there at Penn State. Nobody gave a shit. Them boys didn't want to come forward because it's embarrassing. You know what I mean? This is their livelihood. You know what I mean? Look at how you look. Terry Crews, he was a victim. We like, yo, what's wrong with this dude, man? People was literally saying, what's wrong with Terry Crews? This big ass dude should have whooped his ass. No, my man's a victim, bro. And I'm not saying that, I'm not challenging anybody's manhood, or I'm not saying what's manly or what, you know, what's the correct thing to do. You know what I mean? everybody handles situations different, but he's still a victim, and he should still be respected as a victim. You know what I mean? And I think that's where that's what pisses me off about the Cardi situation. Because whoever she's drugging and robbing is a fucking victim, and they deserve respect, bro. You know what I mean? She can't just come out here and be drugging people, and then she can hurt her ass all across the fucking she had to do what she had to do. No, motherfucker, she didn't have to do that, Dak.
Yeah, absolutely.
She could have just did it. She could have just did the transaction.
There's plenty of women out here that's not going around drugging people, that's out there dancing, making a living, and doing it in a classy way. Because I still think y'all are classy. Even if you dance or strip, you do what you got to do to make your money. And you do it with class, and you do it with self-respect. I think any person that would do that to put somebody in harm's way and put them in danger, they don't have any respect for themselves. And I think that's what Cardi was probably lacking back then. And I'm not saying she's the victim in any way. You should know better. But sometimes when you grow up in that situation, you don't know better, right? I still know people going around that come around and say, oh, but I'm a real nigga. You're not a real nigga because you don't do this, that, and the third. I'm like, bruh, I'm a grown man with kids. Whatever's real to me is real to me. I'm going to be me. That's the realest thing I can be. You fronting and faking for all these people that don't even know you. I know you.
It just sound like this is a personal beef thing.
It is a personal beef, but just like you can't keep making that excuse. Like you just saying, like she had to do what she had to do. No, you can make decisions on your own. You know what, you can do to get ahead in life. Like DJ Chose was talking about how these dudes, they refuse to get a job because they don't want to be looked at as a square or whatever. And they don't want to be, if you come to somebody asking for a favor, but you ain't put in no work on the other side, I'm not going to give you shit. Like, you got to show me you putting work in before I ever open my hand to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like I said, I forgive people. You know what I mean? I forgive everybody. I
don't.
Listen, I'll tell you this. If they admit their fault, you know what I mean? If they admit that, if they don't take me for no fucking fool,
mm-hmm.
I'll forgive them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If R. Kelly come out and say, yeah, I did all that shit, I'm sick, I need help. You know what I mean? Even if it's sincere or not, I still forgive them. You know what I mean? Because at least you admitted it. And that's the first step to fixing the issue. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I know Cardi's worked hard to get where she's at. I know she's had a tough life. You know what I mean? But right now, she's in a way better place. And she's whether she wants to be or not, or whether her character that she portrays is something to be idolized, which, I mean, we could all agree that it's probably not, but it is being idolized. You know what I mean? And as somebody that's a role model to whoever.
Mm-hmm. Her daughter.
To whoever. I mean, there's thousands of 15, 16-year-old girls who's going in that next phase of life that's just been raised on Cardi B. She needs to address this shit. And she needs to let the people know difference between right now. You know what I mean?
I really, in this point in time, I really feel bad for Culture. Because, their parents,
Culture or the daughter?
The daughter. Culture, whatever her middle name is. Kiara, whatever Offset's name. Because when she goes and she looks up who her parents are, she gonna always see that time when Offset was locked up for, 12, 24 months, something like that. And then she gonna see all the stuff that her daddy did to her mama. And then they're gonna see all the stuff that her mama's done. Like, it's gonna be hard. Like, you gonna have money, so I guess money cures that. But no, man, she gonna be in a tough place. And I was using air quotes just in case.
Well, I mean, that's the reality of things. You know what I mean? Culture's, shit. I don't feel bad for her because she gonna have the money on her side. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of kids out here that's going through that shit right now and ain't got shit.
Yeah.
Section 8 cheese, nigga. So,
right.
Fuck it. You know what I mean? And, that's just the reality of things. You know what I'm saying? So,
But, okay.
I mean, and I'm sure they'll mature. You know what I mean? Just like Kim and Kanye, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They'll mature. I mean, they're maturer. They mature every day, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm sure by the time, north of Saint and their kids get up to this Chicago, when they get up there, I'm sure things will be looked at a lot differently. I'm sure they can explain themselves.
I just saw on the Keeping Up with Kardashians preview that they staged all. It looked like they staged all this BS, but
it makes sense.
Kim basically said if Kanye wants to move to Chicago, it's pretty much a wrap for her.
She not moving?
Nah.
I wouldn't move neither. Fuck Chicago. It's cold as shit out there.
One is cold as hell, and you in Calabasas, bruh.
It's windy as shit out there. What Kanye gonna do in Chicago?
I don't know. Ain't nothing. Look, bro.
Hey, listen. I've never been to Chicago. I don't want to disrespect anybody in Chicago. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking Chicago at all because that's not my city. I don't know anything about it. But I know ain't nothing creative really popping out there in Chicago. Dog. Ain't nothing for Kanye out there. Dog. He ain't fit to get no inspiration for Yeezy 8 out in Chicago. Dog.
I think you're wrong there, but I would not leave Calabasas for Chicago. I'll tell you that right now. And that is what it is. On the topic of Chicago, though, so going to the next
Segway King, man. Segway King.
So the city of Chicago and the Chicago, I think the police department's on this as well, is suing Jussie Smollett.
Good.
For the damages that he caused during his investigation.
Good. And I'm never on the side of the law. You know what I mean? But you can't just have your cake and eat it too, Doc. You know what I mean?
Bro, this man is getting out scot-free.
Which, I mean, kudos to him. You know what I mean? He beat the system. But at the same time, you know what I mean? Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? He has to you have to have some punishment behind that, bro.
Look, man.
Even as a black man, even as, you know what I mean, I'm glad he didn't get, I'm glad none of it was real.
I mean, he is another Drake. So he is a black Jewish child. And look, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories about what happened, but all I know is that Fox is backing this man, right? He's back on Empire like nothing happened, back like he never left. His $10,000 or $100,000 whatever was dropped. The African dudes, I guess they ain't nothing really going on against them either. So it's just like clean slate wiped, and we're supposed to forget any of this happening.
I mean, I'm not forgetting shit. You know what I mean? The dude's a clown, bro. He's a clown.
This
is just like unnecessary bullshit. Like, we deal with 6 months of just unnecessary. I don't know how long it was. What was it, 2 months, 3 months?
2 months, I think. I think it was just this year, right?
Just 2 months of unnecessary bullshit behind my man's doing some bullshit. You know what I mean? And it's not even really that important. But the fact that you wasted 2 months of my life, and first off, the 2 weeks where everybody thought this shit was a fucking real crime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A real race crime, dog. You know what he could have incited behind this bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Dude's a fucking clown, dog. Like, I don't give a fuck what he does with the rest of his life, but to me, he will never have my respect. And look, more power to him because my respect don't matter to him, but I wouldn't piss on that dude if he was on fire, dog. Because, why? Because I don't like being lied to, for one. You know what I mean?
And you can't forgive him because he's not going to admit it. Like, he said he's sticking to his story. So if the man can't admit, when he was caught on some bullshit, then it is what it is. Or maybe, who knows? I don't know. There's been a lot of conspiracy theories, which I love conspiracy theories, but, they ties to what was going on with Trump and Trump being heavy in the news and Fox News and Fox, working to get, Jussie into something. I don't know what's going on.
Who gives a fuck about Jussie like that, dog?
I don't.
Jussie does not deserve any conspiracy theories, Doc.
I'm just telling you, that's what people are. Well, it's more conspiracy.
That shit's a fucking lie.
It's more conspiracy theories about how he got out of it, not.
Oh, I was about to say, like they're trying to set my man's up because he set himself up for failure. No. He's a loser. He's a clown, Doc. Fuck that dude, Doc.
Nah,
I hope the FBI gets in his ass.
Saying he got out of it because of Fox News, all the heat that was coming off of Trump and going on to Jussie, and then Fox the parent company basically saying, hey, we need y'all to, this took the heat off. We need y'all to take care of this. Whatever. I don't know how that ties with anything, but, and then they talked about his dad being Jewish and knowing some people in the
like
company and all that shit. Like it was crazy.
I mean, this is just a case of spoiled kid shit. You know what I
mean? One of the funniest ones though, and this is the last one I'm going to talk about, was that my man's was actually in a relationship with a politician in Chicago. He was going to see him. He had been dissed a couple times, so he staged something in the city to kind of make the city look bad. That one was wild. Like it was coming from all over the place. It was like some scorn lover shit, but
I mean, listen. It makes sense, but I mean, he ain't hurt nobody. Like nobody physically got hurt. So I mean, I didn't want my man to go to jail and shit because he ain't built for that life. You know what I mean?
I mean, he is built for that life, but go ahead.
I mean, he ain't killed nobody. Ain't nobody get hurt. Nobody lost their money and nothing. So, I mean, whatever. But at the same time, dog, like as a man, bro, I mean, you just can't trust or respect nobody that move like that, bro.
Right.
And, as a black man, you know what I mean? As a
gay man.
As a man that represents LGBT, bro, like you got to think about, people already have enough issues to deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People already have enough stigmas about us, about your communities. Like
if I didn't trust a gay man before, like I really don't trust a motherfucker now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Like the way you move is the way. I mean, and it's unfortunate, but that seems to be the character of the American society to blanket everything. You know what I'm saying? To put everybody in these silos and not let people be. You always want somebody to be monolithic. Like we're not a one type society. Like everybody's different creeds, cultures, races, mixtures.
And that's a problem with America right now as a whole. Like we just we don't want to face the truth about ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the truth that we may be our own worst enemy.
Did we just double segue this shit?
Double segue?
Did we just double segue this shit?
So speaking of America, the United States being its own worst enemy.
Acronym US. As in us. As in movie that came out this weekend. Ew. Well, last weekend as we record this job.
Look, say what you want to. I love a movie that's going to take me to one end of the spectrum and back to another end, and I don't know where to meet in the middle. And I'm just dumbfounded at the end. Not really dumbfounded because I knew what was going on, but like I wanted to learn so much more about the story.
First and foremost, yeah, I mean, I guess this is secondly since you already spoke your piece. But yo, man, you got to give a lot of respect to Jordan Peele. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, with Get Out and with this movie, like, he's literally doing things that haven't been done in cinema. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's doing it easily.
Yeah.
And whether you liked Us or not, which I don't really see how you didn't like it. I mean, I could see how you wouldn't like it if you were going there for a Get Out type of movie.
Or a pure horror movie.
Or something that was directly pointed at what you wanted it to be pointed at.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's just it was good art. It was what I think America misses a lot of that. You know what I mean? Creativity, originality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why people didn't like it, honestly, because I think it was too artistic. And I don't want to sound like I'm just riding this movie's nuts, but like it's like when somebody that's like your favorite hip hop artist does something that you totally wasn't expecting. You hate it. You know what I mean? But eventually you grow to love it, dog. Well, you just weren't in the right place at the time. And I think that's what it is for us. I think us surprised everybody, but I think it will continue to grow on each other. I think us will have more longevity than Get Out will.
I do too, because you can keep, like, Get Out was pretty much, there was nothing left to be figured out. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gave you all the story.
It was point A to point B.
Absolutely. Us is going to be Jordan Peele's 808s and Heartbreaks. You understand me?
Yeah.
This is going to be his Yeezus. This is going to be this is why Kanye is one of the greatest creators of all time, because Kanye pushes boundaries and makes you go with him. This is what Jordan Peele just did.
And the fact that Jordan Peele has done this silently, like there's no hype. Like he's not getting the big budgets.
Yeah.
He's not getting any crazy kind of fucking preamp warm up. You know what I mean? Like he's not getting like, you know,
you're not getting Avengers and everything else.
Well, Avengers has been good, but let's keep it real. Like the Transformers, shit's been trash for a few years now. I didn't see Bumblebee, so I heard it was better. But
Bumblebee was great.
But previous to that, the last Transformers been trash, but they get so much hype and they love that shit because it's so familiar to them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Jordan Peele's blank canvassing to straight to movie dominance, just by itself. You know what I mean? I'm sure he got a team. I'm sure he has a team and shit, but it's like just straight. That's just straight. That's pure genius at work right there. And I got the utmost respect for that dude. Like, you know, Dave Chappelle said they stole his shtick or whatever, you know, but as far as it goes, Jordan Peele has my utmost respect as far as, you know, movies and directing and, you know, just the art form goes.
Listen to me. Yeah, Dave Chappelle may have perfected the sketch comedy show, but what Key and Peele not only did in sketch comedy at the time for their show, but the direction, the production, everything that you see in Jordan Peele's 2 movies were in that show. There were, you know, movie feels to their sketches. It wasn't just like a thrown together comedy sketch like a Chappelle or what was the dude that came after the Hispanic dude? Carlos Mencia. Like all those people kind of just rode the wave. But what Key and Peele did was turn it into art and tell stories with all theirs.
And the thing about it is, like, I feel like there's a few Dave Chappelle skits I will watch right now that are still classic. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I could constantly just watch Key and Peele shit and still get something from it, you know?
Absolutely. I
think like Dave Chappelle, White Supremacist, you know, the Rick James, the Prince Jones, you know what I mean? His classic shit. But some of them shits was kind of misses. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Almost all of season 3 where he was gone.
Well, you know, some of them shits was misses. But, I mean, like, with Key and Peele, like, I can at least watch it and enjoy it for, you know, the quality of it, you know?
Yeah, and that's exactly it, man. It's quality sketch comedy. But anyway, back to us. So
I mean, how you want to do this? Because this is going to be pretty much the rest of the podcast. So,
I mean, it doesn't even look like we have much time to do the deep dive we want to do. But let's go into by the way, there are going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen Us, you might as well turn this motherfucker off right now. But yeah, so I'll let you go into
we got 30 minutes at least.
Yeah. I want you to go into this the rabbit conspiracy or thing that you were going to talk to me about.
All right, so I think a lot of people didn't feel like Us had racial, I mean, it did, but they couldn't really figure out a lot of the racial undertoning, a lot of the racial discrimination. So I sat there and I thought about it. And let's think about it like this. The rabbits was obviously what the experiment of the tether was obviously performed on originally, correct? Mm-hmm. There's no reason for those rabbits to be down there in that mass quantity if they weren't the original experiment, right? Mm-hmm. There's a multitude of white rabbits. There's not so many black rabbits.
Correct? They're eating the black rabbits.
Well, if you look at it like this, the black rabbits
are the tethered.
The black rabbits had to be the original ones cloned.
Okay.
You feel me? Because there's not many of them left. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Okay.
you can't make two white rabbits. Two white rabbits can't mate and make a black rabbit.
Right.
But a black and a white rabbit can mate and make a white rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's highly unlikely that they make another black rabbit.
Right.
Correct?
I don't know. I'm not.
I just based off of, genealogy, correct?
Okay, yeah.
So my point I'm getting at is that I think that, the black rabbits were the original,
peoples of the world.
Okay, yeah. So they were what the experiments was practiced on, and I think that the white rabbits were tethered to the black rabbit.
See, and I need to go back and watch it again, but I do kind of feel like...
I feel like this because there wasn't that many black rabbits. And I also feel like this because when we talk about without souls, right? And I'm not making this a racial thing, but white is the absence of what?
Darkness.
Or color.
Color, right.
So let's say when they talk about the tether, let's talk about being filled in, right?
Mm-hmm.
The tether was just physically there, but they were absent of what?
Color.
Or soul.
Of soul. Yeah, of soul. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But also I think that, and I don't want to make this racial, like overly racial. I don't want people to be like, oh, this man's wild. He's on his deep ass, you know what I mean?
Hotep.
But, yeah, my Hotep shit. But I also think that it was, it also showed how white people kind of corner people of color.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Until a point where it's kind of like they washed them out.
Yeah.
You feel me? And that's what I feel on the rabbits. You know what I mean? I think that if you look at it, Adelaide and Red were both leaders. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
They were both black, right? There was like two black rabbits, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that cage, you know what I mean? Like the black rabbit is obviously leading, and I think that's I think he was trying to express that white people kind of just take that culture, you know what I mean, and kind of just discard. You know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what you mean. You're wrong.
I'm wrong.
I'll only say this because I just watched the Jordan Peele interview where he talks about there not being really many racial undertones. So,
but I think I think unintentionally. I think sometimes when you paint a picture, especially when it's that creative and when it's that high, you paint it from a higher power. You know what I mean? Okay. And I think that and I'm not getting religious or nothing like that, but I think that when you put pen to pad in your mind, you're putting something there, but the overtone of the whole thing, you don't really get the gravity or the magnitude of it. And I think that Jordan Peele's a smart man, and I think he knows that to stay relevant in Hollywood, he has to play the game. So therefore, I think that he is putting things, and I think what he's saying and what he's doing is two totally different things. Okay.
And I can respect that. And
so
I can see that.
If you telling me you give me Get Out and then you give me Us and you have it has nothing to do, like you're not even, your mind state's not even in that mind frame.
I mean, yeah, I can see what you're saying, but we also don't know what time periods he did these. Because remember, he said he did like 5 of these, right? 4 or 5 of them. And
but this is your niche though.
Yeah, this is right. This is the niche stuff. This is the stuff you know is going to hit out the park before you take people to left field like Kanye did, right?
You know what I'm saying?
So, okay, I can see that. And
I think that he was trying to say that, and it's not even that deep. I just think that maybe he was trying to portray that maybe the rabbits were, the black rabbit symbolized something being taken away from him. You know what I mean? And that he's getting surrounded and he's like the black sheep, even though he started the whole shit.
Right.
You feel me? I think sometimes Jordan Peele feels like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just my rabbit theory, you know what I mean? If you're going down the rabbit hole, you know what I mean? I think that's some racial undertoning, you know what I mean? And the reason I think that also is because the black women were the lead characters.
Mm-hmm.
And not only were they the lead characters, they were actually the leaders
Mm-hmm.
of whatever domain they were in. You know what I mean?
Let me first off, before I get into my theory, not around the rabbits, but about something else. Let me just applaud you, Jordan Peele, for everything that you've done to shift the black culture.
Absolutely.
Especially for filmmakers. Now, it may be the fact that Jordan Peele is a half white man. It may be he has a white wife and a white baby, but he does think outside the box. And I think it's because he has seen so many different things and he appreciates so many different things that he's able to grasp all of them and make it about what he didn't see and what he wanted to see. He made the movies that he wanted to see growing up that we didn't. You know what I'm saying?
And I think Jordan Peele is a very smart individual, and I think he's in tune with himself.
Absolutely.
I think he knows that he's looked at as a black man, even though he's biracial.
Mm-hmm.
I think he knows he's looked at as a black man, even though he has a white wife. You know what I mean? I think he understands the gravity of it. And I mean, like I said, our podcast isn't going to get deep on race. It's not what we do. You know what I mean? Even though we could, but it's not what we're trying to express here. But, you know, I do feel that I would also apply Jordan Peele because, I mean, other than Spike Lee, black cinema's been trash for a long time.
Absolutely. And that's
and if it is good, it's kind of, you know, showed us in a negative light. You know what I'm saying?
And that's exactly what I was going to say. Like when we think about our big blockbusters in cinema, outside of Samuel L. Jackson playing my man's, what's his name? The dude from all the Avengers movies. Can't even think can't think of his name. Yeah, Nick Fury, my bad. So like other than there's like nobody's really getting recognized for playing the hero. Like, you know what I'm saying? My man, except Moonlight, right? Moonlight took a very bad situation and shed light and made it like a very strong for the LGBT community.
Yeah.
LGBTQ community. So, I mean, he's absolutely right. And Spike Lee is like one of my favorite directors all time. I love everything Spike has done. I don't care what you think.
Crooklyn was
was Sweet. What was it? The Sweet Blood of Jesus, the vampire movie, bruh. If you haven't seen this Spike Lee movie, he did a movie called The Sweet Blood of Jesus. It is a beautiful movie. Like when you saw Black Klansman, that's one thing that I think Spike Lee does better than anybody. The colors and the way he films light. He's the opposite of Hype Williams. Hype Williams is real good with dark cinema and he brings grit to it, where Spike can bring a light to it just by the angles and the colors that are popping in frame.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
And a lot of people hated Chirac, but Chirac was a beautiful film.
Chirac was dope. Hey,
as a film, as a film, is a beautiful film.
Yeah.
Like I can understand why you didn't like it because it's based on a play that you probably wasn't familiar with.
Yeah.
And didn't like how, you know, but as a film though, it was a well made. It's just a piece of artwork. You know what I mean?
And black people, I'm gonna need you to stop. I'm gonna need you to stop being so two-faced with black cinema. Like, we don't have to like all the ratchet shit and diss all the different shit. Like, it's okay for us to be weird, bruh. We're supposed to be weird. We're the unnormal. We're not the norm in this society. So let us be weird. Let us push the boundaries. You can't start an uprising until somebody, you know, breaks the mold. So.
Well, let's get back to us. But what you just said, you know, I think the culture is having an awakening. I think the whole planet's pretty much having an awakening. I just, you know, just to piggyback on what you said, I think it's restriction.
Yeah.
You know, don't feel restricted. You know what I mean? I don't want to go into a deep dive of restriction, but listen, man, you know,
don't be told to act no certain way. Hey.
Your mind's a flower, let it bloom, black people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Wale. But going into my conspiracy, speaking of weird, so my conspiracy is based on Jason. Jason is a young boy.
Yeah.
And I believe that he was also tethered, right? We talked about this a little bit where we thought that maybe he was half tethered, but I think he was the full tethered child. So, well, he wouldn't be full tethered because obviously if the young Adelaide was the tethered individual, then her and the real crap, I keep forgetting his name. No, the real husband. If they mated, they made a half tethered baby, right? So it is what it is. But he was a replacement for the Jason that was under the mask, right? Well, they both wore masks, but you know what I'm talking about. So the one with the burns obviously had to have been the original that was there because they talked about the fire being started. He was the one that was all burnt up. They talked about how he was very articulate, and since this happened, he was completely different. He had a different my Lord, his eating habits changed, right? He wasn't really eating much. He wasn't talking much. He couldn't remember a trick that he had just learned a year ago, which was the trick that probably started the fire with the lighter, right? So I think a lot of things led to that. In the very beginning of the movie, whenever the daughter was in the backseat talking about the government putting fluoride in water, and Duke rolling his eyes, and then Adelaide kind of gave him a thing like, yeah, that's not what the government's doing, but the government is using something for mind control, right? Then I Got Five on It comes on, right? He changes the topic, and Adelaide starts saying "snap with the beat." Well, yeah. Adelaide is off beat.
Yes, right? Because she's not real.
Because she's tethered.
She has no soul.
So when Jason starts snapping with her, he thinks he's on beat too because he's on beat with her, right? Yeah. So Jason the whole time is like he's weird, right? When they were out there building sand castles, my man was building sand tunnels. Yeah. My man was drawn to the dude, the 1111 dude standing out there. Something about it just drew him there. He looked at the House of Mirrors, didn't even think about going in, went straight to looking at the dude, right? Yeah. So there were a lot of things like, and then when they got in the closet, right? Uh-huh. The one with the mask, that kid showed him how to do the trick from a year ago. Yeah. So he knew everything. He was nobody was trying to kill either one of the boys. So I think they're, like I said, half tethered. The boys didn't try to really bring harm onto anybody until that last scene where he made them, walk back into the fire. And I think that's another reason why we know he's the tethered one, because he knew he could control the other with the Hands Across America stuff, right?
Okay, so can I piggyback on your theory? Because I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
What if Pluto?
Okay, Pluto. Yep.
I only have one disagreement with your theory, but just if your theory is correct, what if Pluto knew that Red? The whole thing was a setup, obviously, right? Revenge or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So what if Pluto tethered Jason to walk backwards? See, Pluto knew his mother was standing there. Pluto could have killed everybody. If he was tethered, that's what he would have did, right? He would have lit the match, set all the things on fire. But he not being tethered told him like, yo, this is a trap. And but it wasn't a trap for Pluto. It was a trap for my mans.
Right.
So he got out. Then he started walking backwards into the fire. So Jason will walk backwards into Red.
Yeah. So he sacrificed himself to get to get Adelaide to chase Red and finish there. Well,
but the only two disagreements that I have with yours right now, and you can explain this. One, Jason would have not been Red's child.
Right.
No, excuse me. Pluto would have not been Red's child.
Right. Pluto would have not been.
Why would Pluto give two fucks about what the fuck Red was doing?
Because.
Two.
Okay.
Why would Adelaide risk going back into the area, which she knew exactly where to go?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't no surprise because when she went to go get Jason, she ran right back down that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Didn't look twice. Took all the right lefts, beat up the owl and everything. Why would she risk going back down there to swap them out? And why would Red allow it? That's just my two things.
That is a good point. I don't know how this happened unless Red did it to plant him. Red sent him up there on purpose because she felt something, right? You think she could feel? Oh yeah, because you're matter of fact, the people that were down there, remember, were going through the same thing that they were going through up top.
Yeah.
Right? So it was a mirror image. So she must have seen something happening to Red or to Jason, and then swap them out with Pluto, like go up there and be my tool. Like I want him down here because I know I can
but
I can make him see what I can teach him to listen. He's probably more astute child, right? He's going to be the perfect.
And this theory it has a lot of things pointing to it being true, and I'm following you, and but the only thing that really gets me on this theory is that
why
the connection between Jason. Well, I mean, at the end of the movie, the connection between Jason and Adelaide wasn't as strong.
Yeah, because I'm guessing from that locker, he saw everything going on.
Yeah, and I mean, he knew what happened. But see, so what I was going to say is, I feel like the sons would have been loyal to their original mother. You feel me?
Yeah.
And if they were swapped, then that wasn't their original mother.
Right. But Jason being so fresh, I don't think he realized it. But I think that's why Pluto may have sacrificed himself in your theory. So she leaves without hurting his mother, right? She takes the boy down to get Adelaide to follow her, but she doesn't get blown up. Like they don't blow up everybody in the family because that's his real family, right? So
maybe that's an interesting theory, and I mean it carries a lot of weight.
Yeah,
I mean and this is why Jordan Peele is so fucking masterful because there's some shit we'll never know. We could talk about this. We could figure this out for 3 years.
If Jordan Peele is at Comic-Con or at the Dallas Comic Convention this year, I am paying whatever it costs to go and sit and hear him talk about his movies. That's it.
For sure. So, what's our time looking like?
I think we got about 8 minutes, maybe less.
So, I mean, we could probably piggyback on this on another episode too if we feel the need to, if we come up with some more shit. But what's your overall, not review of the movie, but what do you think the overall point of the movie was?
I think the overall point was what we stated. We are our own worst enemies. Classism. It had a lot to do with classism.
That's surface level. On a deeper level, what do you think?
I think it was all about classism. I think it was about how the disenfranchised and unappreciated get left out in the cold to eat rabbits and bullshit, while the fortunate and wealthy sit up top and get greedy and fat like pigs. Like it was everybody up top seemed to be very wealthy and smug, Adelaide's family was a little more conservative, a little more like tailored back, but Winston Duke's character, dude, what the hell was his name? Why can I not remember his name? But Winston, was it Gabe? Yeah, okay. So he wasn't. He was very jealous of what old boy had, what the white dude had. So yeah, it was real pomp and posh up top, and then everybody down there was starving. So from the Goonies, my man comes up with, "It's our turn up there. You had your chance." You know what I'm saying? Like that's
on a deep, and I respect your thought process.
Mm-hmm.
On a deeper level, though, check me out. What do you think about this? I think it was a movie about depression.
About depression. Okay.
Depression. I think that as a kid, right, I think that the original Adelaide was depressed. Her father didn't show her much attention. She was disconnected from her mama. She told him, like, "Mama, I don't want to fuck with you like that when you go into the restroom." Her dad wasn't paying her no attention. You know what I mean? She strode out on her own, right? I think her true self was locked away while she put on
a facade,
a fake self. You know what I mean? And I think that her untended depression was coming back to haunt her. You see what I'm saying? I think that goes with all of them. I think the movie's really a movie about mental illness. I think it's about, I think it plays on a lot of mental illness tropes like schizophrenia, depression, anxiety. I think that her original self, her tethered self, or Adelaide, not Red. I think Red was her depressed self. I think Adelaide was her what's the word I'm looking for? When you when you're antsy. What when you have
anxious self?
Yeah, but what's the word called? What's the disease called?
Hyperactive?
No. This is specific. Anxiety. Anxious. Anxiety. I'm stupid. Adelaide was her anxiety self. Because the whole time she was fucking tripping. She was nervous about all of it.
Yeah.
Where's my son? Where's this? That. All that. I don't like being here. I don't want to be here. Right? And I think that's what happens when you don't tend to your depression. You become... I just think the whole movie is about mental illness, bro. Like, I think that a lot of symbolism and a lot of things in there had to do with mental illness, bro. And I think that that's what the movie is about. I think that...
Even though Jordan Peele said what it's about.
Yeah, I do. I don't...
You don't think it's single. You don't think it's monolithic. You think it's multi-layered and all these other things are coming out of it, which was what makes it a great movie.
This is the thing. I think that Jordan Peele is saying... I think that Jordan Peele is saying what needs to be said for people to continue to support the movie. I think Jordan Peele got in his deep bag, and maybe he didn't, but Jordan Peele, if you're putting Chud and all this other shit in backgrounds and you going off Michael, I've heard so many theories, Michael Jackson Thriller gloves and all this other shit. You know what I mean? Then you have to be a intelligent individual. And if you start telling people that this movie is about mental health and mental illness, it's going to blow their mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some shit is just like too deep. You know what I mean? Just like I was listening to Winston Duke on The Breakfast Club when he was talking about Get Out was about gentrification. I didn't even think about that until he brought that shit up. And I was like, yo, that's a little too deep. That's when shit gets wild. You know what I mean? And you don't want to talk to people about gentrification, like literally white people taking over black people's area. You know what I mean? Like literally taking over their body. Like that's when the shit gets too deep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when people really are going to start being like, yo, what the fuck? You know what I mean? That's when it gets, you can't even enjoy it anymore because now you're in some deep other shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that Jordan Peele, I think he knows how to play the game. I think he's recognizing what people's problems is with his movie. You know what I mean? And I think that the movie is about mental health.
Yeah.
I think that he, and if you think about it, when you put you subdue all your mental issues. Subdue, subterranean, you putting it under. I don't know, bro. It was deep. I think the movie's about mental health, bro. When I really think about it, bro, I think that Red was depression. I think that Adelaide was anxiety. And I think that was for all of them. You know what I mean? I think that Gabe, You know what I'm saying? I think Abraham was his aggression. You know what I mean? His anger. You know what I mean? That he left, but on the surface he was soft and he was petty. But as a black man, he puts all his anger and all that shit that he really wants to say so he can survive in society. You know what I mean? That's mental. You know what I mean? His pent up aggression, which is mental health. Yeah. You know what I mean? I could do I think I could do a fucking dissertation about how this movie was about mental health, Doc.
Hey man, that's a good interpretation. I enjoy that. I also want to say that it's about being in the Matrix because her name was Red. She was a red pill. They were in the Matrix down there. But anyway, or they were out of the Matrix.
Did you hear shit about? And I mean, just how deep this shit is. The boy's name was Pluto because he was in the dark. And Pluto's the farthest planet from the light. It's like pretty much submerged in dark.
It's not even a planet anymore. But yes, absolutely. He's submerged in. Oh man, bruh.
And Umbre, I guess, is like the darkest part of the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he's getting that deep, how can you just say this movie's about uprising of poor people?
I can't. That's why I open my ears to all theories on this movie, and I'm going to continue to dive into this movie. And this is why it's such a great movie, because you keep trying to find answers to different things in this movie. You could take this movie frame by frame and probably find something that's either related to a theme in the movie or related to something that gave him an idea of the movie. Just like he was talking about the VHSs with Chud, the mole people, and I can't think of it. The Man with Two Brains. There you go. So like Jordan Peele, you are fire, bruh. I haven't liked an original script and an original director since Guillermo del Toro came out with Pan's Labyrinth. Pan's Labyrinth is hands down one of my favorite movies of all time, and this is getting right there with it. There's so much stuff to find out, and so much further you can go into this movie. It's a classic. It's a classic.
Yeah, man. What we looking at on time, Dak?
We're pretty much over.
This episode was probably our most consistent. I mean, like, you know, it was pretty solid. Usually I'm laughing for 30 minutes.
We had a shit ton of segues. You're welcome.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, this is it seems that this was our more formulaic episode. Wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be. That I couldn't get no jokes off because it was all serious topics. But I mean, hey, what the fuck is a podcast about if it can't be serious every once in a while?
Every once in a while, we shall do a serious topic. Not often, but you know.
Yeah, but you know, I'm gonna develop a very deep thesis on how us is about mental health. I'm gonna do a YouTube video on it. I'll probably be shirtless, covered in popcorn oil, just for the ladies to see the gloss. You know what I mean?
You gonna put some on your head too?
I had to get something off, dog. I'd be like mad serious this whole podcast, dog. I mean, a little popcorn butter, you know what I mean? You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I've been one of your hosts, 817 Rod 682.
What's this, episode 4?
It's episode 4.
Episode 4, man. We done did 4, man. We gotta stay consistent, man. Eventually somebody gotta like it, right?
Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. Good night.
Hey.